The world of Android smartphones is steadily breaking into two camps. On one side, we have the glossy flagships delivered by Samsung, HTC, LG and Sony. These phones spare no expense in providing the absolute pinnacle of mobile technology at any given time, with super high-speed quad-core processors, laser autofocusing, and all manner of other shiny things that fill up specification lists. They also tend to cost a hell of a lot of cash off contract, which is why many of them get sold through expensive high-tier contracts from operators. The other side of the coin, though, involves manufacturers making high-quality handsets at a fraction of these costs, handsets that still manage to tick all the right boxes and deliver a decent experience. The major names mentioned do play this game. They also have entry-level and mid-range devices, although it's usually kind of obvious they're just trying to make up the numbers. For other manufacturers though, this is the majority of their product range. Motorola definitely proved it was a viable business model with the original Moto G, and that's allowed them to do well with their further Moto X's. So let's take a look at Archos. They're a long-standing name in portable personal technology and have been engaged in developing Android tablets for the last few years. Smartphones are relatively new to them, but a natural progression of the products they have been making for many years. If you don't know much about Archos, then look them up. Their manufacturing chops have been proven several times over in the last couple of decades, with products in many different tiers, price brackets, and categories. The Helium smartphone range, it is a range, this is the 45, but there will be a larger 50 model, is competing specification-wise at the mid-range market, but with a price, £145, that rivals the lower tiers. The popular Moto G 4G should be looking firmly over its shoulder at the Helium 45, and with good reason. It's very rare to get a specification as complete as the 45 Helium at this price. Undercutting the Moto G 4G by even a little bit is no mean feat, and whilst the savings can be seen in a slightly lower screen resolution and a touch less storage out of the box, the initial glance at what you get for your money is very impressive. The 45 Helium is a simple looking phone, a traditional squared slab that doesn't raise any eyebrows and is indicative of its job as a functional piece of kit. The 4.5 screen is surrounded by relatively thick bezel to the top and sides. Slimming this down would pretty the phone up somewhat, but overall it's nothing to complain about. Soft keys adorn the bottom chunk of the bezel, arranged in Samsung fashion with the back button on the right. These glow nicely when pressed for use in the dark. Finally, a slim grey strip on the base holds the simple Archos branding. The backplate is actually produced with a very comfortable soft touch material, similar to the Motorola's. This is warm and pleasant to hold and gives off the impression of a much more expensive phone. This is also removable, thankfully much more easily than a Moto's backplate, which gives access to the micro SD and micro SIM slots, as well as the removable battery. All little extras that you might not find on other phones of this price point. Volume and power buttons sit on the left side, nice for the lefties out there, well positioned and slightly raised without spoiling the trim. The headphone socket is on the top, and very oddly is the micro USB. It's a strange place to put the micro USB port, but one has to suppose there was a reason for it in the design process. The 45 Helium is a lesson in simple function. The phone fits well in the hand, is balanced weight-wise, neither top or side heavy, and gets the job done with a minimum of fuss. At 480 by 800, the screen resolution is passable at 4.5 inches. It's 207 ppi, and whilst a higher resolution panel could have been used, this would have inevitably driven the cost up. For most, the resolution will be fine, and text is easily defined and readable. Brightness is decent, although you will struggle in direct sunlight even at maximum. Archos have put a very glossy finish on the plastic cover over the screen. Not only does this reflect even the smallest bit of light, it's also an absolute fingerprint magnet. I'll keep saying it, but this is par for the course for this phone. The screen is functional and to the point, nothing too fancy, and what is to be expected considering the price. Archos could have driven the cost of this handset down further by picking a lower branded processor from the likes of MediaTek or other brands. Many other cheaper phones take this tack. It's a fair trade-off for price, however everyone knows the top dogs in the mobile game are Qualcomm. The 45 Helium uses their Snapdragon 400 quad-core processor, fast becoming the choice for mid-range devices. This chip is found in a number of phones from top manufacturers and is probably the best performing mid-tier available. Coupled with 1 GB of RAM and Android 4.3, the Helium ticks along very nicely, capable of dealing with pretty much everything the standard user can throw at it. After adding my Google account, I had it downloading dozens of apps from my history, a large torrent file and streaming off YouTube, all simultaneously with no problems. Android performance is fast becoming a non-issue with the most recent generation of hardware and software. Storage is low at 4 GB out of the box. Following a firmware update and installing a few basic social applications such as Facebook, Messenger, Twitter and Snapchat and Instagram, I found myself with only 1.2 gigs remaining. I've seen worse, but it's safe to say a memory card is a definite extra for data or pictures, and you'll have to app manage if you have plenty of favourites. When it comes to media, Archos history is filled with portable players. During the personal MP3 age, they carved out their own niche against iPods and Walkmans to critical acclaim. Nowadays, many of us have moved on to streaming services, however there's always room for your own stored tunes, be they rips from your own albums or digital downloads. To this end, Archos provide 2 custom apps, music and video, for managing your collections. These are both very simple to use, well-designed apps that are also configured to search for music on local storage, external card storage, and also media servers with UPnP and SMB. If you're the kind of person that likes to blare their music out as you walk down the road, or have a video to share with friends, the speaker on the 45 Helium was also very impressive. It's rear mounted, so it has a tendency to suffer with your hand placement, although the volume is awesome. The Sony Xperia E1 recently claimed to hit 100 decibels, however didn't really seem to live up to that when we tested it. This 45 Helium, however, stuck at an average in the mid-90s at full volume, and peaked at 105. Now granted, I was testing on YouTube with the very loud Arcane Root single Slow, not for anyone who dislikes loud guitar music, however the numbers are impressive whichever way you look at it. For connectivity buffs, we already know the 45 Helium has LTE, and this is delivered on international bands 20, 3, 1 and 7, so to our North American friends, you won't be able to use this one, I'm afraid. You'll be falling back to 3G and HSPA speeds. Elsewhere, most of the other boxes are ticked. GPS, Wi-Fi, tethering, hotspot, Wi-Fi Direct, Miracast and Bluetooth 4. NFC didn't make the cut at this price, and unsurprisingly neither did wireless charging. We're probably still a generation or two from these becoming available on lower tier devices. Also a little disappointing is that there are no extras on the USB. I didn't expect MHL, however there doesn't seem to be USB hosting either. I couldn't get any flash drives to register. Basics covered, extras omitted. Pretty much the story of the 45 Helium. The camera is pretty much ticking the box. It's a 5 megapixel module. It's bog standard inclusion. Any less is not considered enough, but any more adds to the price. The 45 Helium's natural competitor is the Moto G 4G, and this makes do with the same unit for pictures. The camera application is the stock Android provision, familiar to anyone who has used a Nexus 4, 5 or a Moto G. It's by no means the best camera app out there, with adjusting the settings being particularly fiddly, although you can get some decent results with practice. The 1700 mAh battery isn't the largest available, but should last you through a full day with careful use. With a lower resolution screen to some competitors, it has less to power, and Qualcomm's built-in learning algorithms from their processor should settle your battery life after a week or so. I had no gripes with the battery when putting my mind in the place of the average user. An hour of constant use, browsing articles, or especially playing games took its toll on the remaining percentage, but on the whole I got home with enough juice to be happy with. In conclusion, the Archos 45 Helium isn't just a good value handset, it's actually a very good smartphone in general. Sure, it doesn't have the fastest processor, biggest highest density screen, or an Android skin developed by a big team over several years. What it is though, is a well-built, capable and supremely affordable modern handset. At £145, almost rude to everyone else, you get a lot for this price tag, and the 45 Helium deserves to be mentioned as one of the best value for money devices available right now. If you're bargain hunting and searching for the best deal, 45 Helium really should be on your shortlist. Archos have a history that isn't worth forgetting. Several brands suffer where consumers don't have too much knowledge of them. Archos have one foot in that category, but the other firmly with technology lovers who undoubtedly remember some of their best products from years gone past. If you're looking at moving into the world of 4G connectivity, or simply want a modern capable upgrade without paying big money, the 45 Helium is worth a look. Archos have done everything right here, and they deserve to earn some new customers on the back of some top quality work.